Skywatchers, this is it. This is the day we get the first science images back from the James Webb Space Telescope, and you've got a front row seat to the cosmos. I'm Michelle Thaler, your host for what can only be described as a celebration for everyone on Earth. So think about this. Light from the earliest days of the universe has been traveling to us for billions of years. Just over the last few weeks, we've captured some of that light with a telescope that sees the universe in an entirely new way. And today we share the very first results. So longtime space fans are going to know who this is. This is Dr. John Mather. He's the senior project scientist for the Webb telescope and a Nobel Prize winner. And John, I couldn't be happier to be here with you today.
Thank you. It's a thrill to be here for this very special day.
How are you feeling?
I am thrilled and I'm relieved because, you know, when you start something this big, you know there's always a possibility it might not work. It did work. We are so proud.
And you've been on this project for a very long time, right?
Yeah, started in 1995. We had just finished measuring the Big Bang. We measured it with the Cosmic Background Explorer satellite that we built right here at Goddard. And we measured the spectrum. We measured there are hot and cold spots in the Big Bang. So we said, now we know it all, how it all got started. But then what happened after that? So then I got a call from NASA headquarters. Would I like to work on this new telescope that's going to help answer those questions? What happened after the Big Bang? How did the galaxies grow? How did the first black holes grow? What happened all the way from there to here? So this is our time machine, and I just wanted to be part of it. I am so thrilled that we got a chance to do it.
You know, one of the things that I remember you saying, and this is kind of amazing, that after you win the Nobel Prize, you thought that this mission was the most important thing to work on.
Absolutely. It's the next question. After you know how it started, what happened then? And, you know, suddenly we now have the technology to do it. We didn't have 50 years ago, didn't have the technology 25 years ago, even when we started this. We had to invent things along the way. So we did that. And here it is.
Well, thank you. We'll be back to you in just a moment. So at the moment, we're going to talk about the way that Webb is a completely new way to explore the universe. So today, the mission releases its first science images and gives wings to the dreams of so many people who worked so hard for so long to make this possible. For everyone on Earth, this is your telescope. This is the largest, most powerful observatory ever put into space. It's the product of thousands of people working for more than 2 decades. This is a mission that's singularly focused on the biggest questions in science. So the following phrase is often used too easily, but today actually does mark the dawn of a new era. Today, the Webb mission is open for scientific business, and this is just the beginning. The best is yet to come. So, John, one of the things you told me about is that you really want to make sure there are some people that get thanked, people that put a huge amount of effort into this.
Absolutely. Our current project manager, Bill Oakes, took the project from a time of trouble when we didn't exactly know how we were going to get this to work, and got it all the way to the end. Here it is working, and it's because of Bill made this worldwide team. 20,000 people around the world were involved in making this thing all work, and Bill has been there every day making sure that it would happen. So other special person is Senator Barbara Mikulski. She saved our telescope, and she saved the telescope before us. She made sure after the Hubble telescope was launched and it was not in focus that we would go up and fix it. She made sure that happened. When the Webb telescope needed more resources, she made sure we could get that. So Barbara, we thank you.
Well, it is such an honor to be with you, Jay. I mean, it's been a pleasure to be working with you through this whole thing. Thank you so much. Congratulations, and go Webb.
Thank you.
So this broadcast, much like every part of this mission, is a partnership. On our journey to explore distant places in space, we've been joined by intrepid travelers from around the globe. We have so many extraordinary collaborators. So let's check in with our partners who will be sharing the stage with us today as we reveal Webb's 5 first science images. From the European Space Agency, I'm joined by Katie Haswell in Darmstadt, Germany. Katie. I see Katie in the background there. Also joining us from the Canadian Space Agency in Montreal, we have Natalie Willette and Sarah Gallagher. Bonjour. I see Katie in the background there. See the waving too. And so naturally, we're also going to be visiting the nerve center of this mission, the Space Telescope Science Institute on the campus of Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland. And there we have Alex Lockwood and Carl Gordon, and they're going to give us updates and more. Good morning. Great. So we'll be back with our international partners shortly, where they'll each reveal one of the new images. But today we're also going to be joined by millions of science fans from around the world. Many are gathered at watch parties just for this event. So here we are really going international. So I'm beginning with Bhopal, India. Do we have a signal from Bhopal? Yes. Excellent. Welcome to NASA. Hello, everybody there. Wonderful to be talking to you today, all the way in India. We'll be back to them later. Yes. Great to wave to you. Hi. Wonderful. And we also have a warm welcome now in Portland, Oregon. So we have the feed from Portland. A bit dark, but I see everybody there. Hello, Portland. They're in an auditorium, I see. Okay, next we're going to go off to Milan, Italy. So afternoon in Italy. Do we have the feed from Italy? I guess we have a screen from Italy. And next we're going to go to Rutland, Vermont. So is this Vermont? Hello, Vermont. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. Thank you for being part of this today. Okay, going even a little bit further afield, we have Netanya, Israel. Hello. Hello, Israel. Yay. Really nice to see you guys. Okay, and just one more for now. I see people like giving me hugs. Okay, we also have Vancouver, Canada. Hey, Vancouver. Hi. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful to have all these people with you. So right across from the campus from me, there's also a huge watch party taking place with members of the WEBB team. So the wonderful thing is that they actually are people that have worked on the mission, and they are part of our NASA Funny family. So hello WEBB team. There they are. Yes. A lot of people I recognize there. So it's incredibly important to me personally, and also to all of us at NASA, that the universe belongs to everyone. And we are thrilled to share this day with fans everywhere around the world. We'll say hello to some more later in our broadcast. So now it's time to start the main event. What you'll see over the next hour will be a collection of images newly processed by the WEBB science team. Only a tiny handful of experts have seen the images so far, and I can tell you that we have been so excited to unwrap them for everyone. We will be releasing each image in turn in real time. As soon as you see it on this broadcast, it will be available for download on the internet. On the screen below, you can see a timeline showing where we are in the show and what's coming up next. And by the end of the show, all 5 images will be available to everyone. So hopefully you can tell I'm excited. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, we're going to release the first image right here at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center, Maryland, and we're just outside of Washington, D.C. NASA Goddard is home to the project office of the WEBB telescope, and the observatory portion of the telescope, the mirrors and the science instruments, were integrated and tested here before launch. So for many of us, including myself, seeing WEBB come together bit by bit right in front of our eyes was an emotional and very inspiring experience. So it's kind of like a part of us was out there with WEBB right now. A million miles away, part of our hopes and dreams are out there. So I'm joined now by Jane Rigby, the operations project scientist for the WEBB mission. And she's a familiar face for people who've been following this before. So welcome, Jane.
Hi, Michelle.
Okay, so Jane, you not only get the honor of revealing the first image, but this actually got a little bit of a sneak preview. I understand there was a very select audience who's already seen the image.
Yes, so last night, on behalf of the project, I had the privilege of traveling to the White House with the NASA Administrator Nelson and other senior staff to share our first image with President Biden and Vice President Harris. And it was really fun. Oh my gosh. They really geeked out. We had a closed door session where we got to walk through all the images and just share the excitement. And they were so thrilled, and they got the profundity of what we're seeing. And so now let's do it.
Okay, we've got the whole world watching. Are you ready to put the first image up?
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
Absolutely. All right, here we go.
Okay, so the first image is a deep field, and it's also a deep field with a cluster. So why don't we walk through this just a little bit? So if we come up and look at this image, first of all, it's really gorgeous, and it's teeming with galaxies. And that's something that has been true for every image we've gotten with WEBB. We can't take blank sky. Everywhere we look, there's galaxies everywhere. And so, this image, as we're looking at it, what we're seeing is not just all the galaxies, but there's a cluster here. And so the cluster are all these white kind of ethereal galaxies. We're seeing them as they looked back in time. right? The speed of light is only so fast. And so as we're seeing distant galaxies out in space, we're seeing them as they looked billions of years ago. So these cluster galaxies, the white ones, we're seeing as they looked about the time the sun and the earth formed. And then behind the cluster, we have the gravity of the cluster is distorting and warping our view of what's behind. And so there are these galaxies that look stretched and pulled, kind of like they've been magnified because they've been magnified by the gravity of the cluster, just like Einstein said they would. And, you know, it's really, there's so much detail here. We're seeing these galaxies in a way that we've never been able to see before. There's just a sharpness and a clarity we've never had. And so we can look at, if we zoom in on this image, and I encourage you as you grab this image at home, like zoom in, you can, you know, really zoom in and play around. There are galaxies here in which you're seeing individual clusters of stars forming, popping up just like popcorn. And then we also see in the background of this image, kind of littered like jewels all over the back of the image are these faint red galaxies. Now, that was what we built the telescope to do. The most distant of those are billions of years. We're seeing as they looked more than 13 billion years ago. And so galaxies like that one right there, this little red guy, you're like, okay, yep, what is that? Well, Webb got spectra to figure out what those galaxies are made of. And this is that one. We're seeing as it looked 13.1 billion years in the past, less than a billion years after the Big Bang. And we're seeing the elements of oxygen and hydrogen as well as neon. You know, this is how the oxygen in our bodies was made in stars, in galaxies, and we're seeing that process get started.
Yeah, I want to give this a little bit of context. So this is now the farthest away galaxy that we have this sort of detailed information about.
That we know what it's made of.
We know what it's made of.
Yes.
And this was not a long exposure for Webb.
No, the previous record holder, right, the Hubble Extreme Deep Field, was 2 weeks of continuous work with Hubble, and it was just imaging. With Webb, we took that image before breakfast. The amazing thing about Webb is the speed at which we can churn out discoveries. So everything that you're going to see here in this broadcast is a week, and we're going to be doing discoveries like this every week.
That is absolutely incredible, Jane. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been an honor to be working with you. Congratulations on all your hard work.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to see it pay off.
So thank you. And I'll see you later on today, I hope. So
yes.
Enjoy the day.
Thank you.
Right. So from distant galaxies, we now turn our eye to something a bit closer. It's a planet, but not one in our solar system. Remember that Earth and its sibling planets aren't the only show in the universe. When scientists and engineers started developing JWST, the search for exoplanets wasn't even part of the plan. That's changed. Exploring exoplanets is now a major component of the mission and the subject of our second big reveal of the day. I'm going to send it now to our friends Natalie Willette and Sarah Gallagher at the Canadian Space Agency in Montreal. So again, bonjour. I guess we're having a little. We'll go.
Okay. I'm Nicole, and I'm here to tell you.
Sorry for the brief pause there. We're now going over to Canada. Okay. Yep, we're all ready. Yeah. Okay, I apologize. We're having some trouble with the signal from Canada, but luckily for us, we have an exoplanet expert right here, just in case that happened. So this is Nicole Colon, and she's an exoplanet scientist at NASA, and we're going to talk about this amazing new result from a very hot planet, I understand about 1,000 light years away.
That's right. The exoplanet is named WASP 96b, and it is this hot, gaseous, giant, puffy planet that it is about 1,000 light years away. So that's why today's release is so exciting, because it teases at what Webb is going to do for such a distant.
Absolutely. So talk us through what this discovery is and why this is so significant.
Mm-hmm. Well, this reveal that you're going to see is going to show the first spectrum of an exoplanet as taken from the Webb telescope. And this is exciting because it covers infrared wavelengths of light that we have not had access to before. So we've been able to use other telescopes to explore exoplanet atmospheres in the infrared, but not to this level of detail. And this is just one sliver of data that Webb is providing us using the nearest instrument specifically.
And there's something about infrared that is actually particularly good for the spectrum. So in this case, what we're doing is we're actually going to take the light and break it up into a rainbow and look very, very carefully at how much color is coming in each part of the spectrum. So I believe we have that image, if we can put that up.
Okay, yes, I believe we're revealing the spectrum right here. So we now have our spectrum, and this is exactly what you're seeing. As you just described with spectroscopy, what we did was we observed a transit of an exoplanet. We observed the planet as it passed in front of the star. Now, mind you, this is not a direct image. This is an indirect image. So we've seen the effect of what happens when the planet and its atmosphere passes in front of the star. The starlight filters through the atmosphere, and then you can break that down into wavelengths of light, and you get a bunch of what looks like bumps and wiggles to some people, but it's actually full of information content. So you're actually seeing bumps and wiggles that indicate the presence of water vapor in the atmosphere of this exoplanet.
So we have the spectrum up here. Is there anything you'd like to highlight particularly?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have several features marked here. So I call them features. They're these, what I just referred to as bumps and wiggles. But what you're seeing here is a telltale signature, the chemical fingerprint of water vapor in these atmospheres, in the atmosphere of this specific exoplanet. And the other thing we can tell actually is that there's evidence of clouds and hazes because the water features are not quite as large as we predicted. So we can take that and infer that there are presence of clouds and hazes.
Right. Now, one thing that we really want to make sure people understand is with this particular planet, this is a hot world. It's actually closer to its star than Mercury is to our sun.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not looking at liquid water here, but we're looking instead at sort of steam, water vapor.
Yes, this is an exoplanet. It's about the size of Jupiter, about half the mass of Jupiter. It orbits around a sun-like star, but it does it every about 3.5 days. Right. So it's extremely hot, extremely close in, nothing like our solar system planets, but that's okay because what we're seeing is, again, the first exoplanet data from Webb, and this is just the beginning. We're going to start pushing down to further smaller planets and being able to take measurements just like this with the nearest instrument that was built by the Canadian Space Agency, but also there's three other science instruments that will add to our knowledge in the infrared, as well as direct imaging modes along with the transit method. So there's a lot more to come.
And I guess one thing we should mention is not only are we going to be looking at planets that are more like the Earth in the future, but we'll also be looking at planets in our own solar system.
Absolutely, yes. We're going to have exciting data from planets in our solar system, from Mars outward, as well as asteroids and comets. So stay tuned for a lot more to come.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you so much for telling us about the spectrum, and I'll be seeing you later on today. So we have 3 more big image reveals, and with that, new and more exciting science. But first, let's take a look back at the journey that brought us to this moment. Celebrations like this one are only possible with years of hard work from a cast of thousands. When a new mission is being built, even the most enthusiastic space fans only get to see dramatic moments in its life cycle, the news and images that come out in updates and press releases. But that doesn't really give you the sense of the huge effort that goes on behind the scenes every day. The plans, schedules, and organization to keep everything moving forward really happens, for the most part, out of people's gaze. Webb started as an idea that took root at NASA Goddard. It grew first into planning teams, research projects, schematics, requirements. Then it began the long journey to become real with the development of new technologies, cutting-edge engineering, and finally fabrication, putting it all together. Let's take a brief look back at the visionary journey to how we all got here today.
So today was the final closeout of the purge.
Okay, guys, I can hear Rupa, but
It's a pretty emotional moment to be in there and actually, closing it up for the very last time, right? You're the last one to touch this. And so that was the final operation. And once that fitting is closed out, there's no more touching of the vehicle. We're ready for launch.
The James Webb Space Telescope. Born from the desires of astronomers, achieved with newly invented technology, is the culmination of 20 years of work.